Listen, folks, we all know that dealing with a narcissist isn't easy. It's a battle of wills, a tug of war between their ego and your peace. But here's the thing. God, in his wisdom, knows how to handle them. He's got a way of breaking down that pride, showing them the truth in ways they never saw coming. And while it might seem like they're always on top, trust me, when God steps in, everything changes. Today, I'm going to break down 10 things God always does to the narcissist. And trust me, it's nothing short of powerful. So stay with me, because God's work, it's always in motion, and his timing, always perfect. God has a way of dealing with the proud that is beyond human understanding. The narcissist, full of themselves, often believes they are untouchable, that their ego and sense of superiority will protect them from anything that comes their way. But God doesn't work by the rules of the world. He sees the arrogance, the inflated self-immune, and he knows it's not real. God doesn't need to shout or scream to get their attention. He simply waits, and when the time is right, he humbles them in ways they never expected. He brings down the walls they've built around their heart, showing them how small they truly are in comparison to his power and grace. The narcissist may think they control their destiny, that their manipulation and charm will keep them above the fray. But God shakes the ground they stand on. It's not a sudden crash, but a steady unraveling. The more they try to hold on to their image, the more it slips through their fingers. Their pride will turn to confusion as God disrupts their carefully crafted illusion of invincibility. This isn't an act of revenge, but of correction. God doesn't just tear them down to make them feel small. He does it to bring them closer to the truth of who they really are. They might resist, they might fight it, but God's work is unstoppable. He doesn't allow pride to rule forever. It's a process that strips away the layers of delusion, the belief that they are the center of the universe. And when God breaks down their pride, it's not just for them to see their flaws, but for them to recognize the power of humility and the need for his grace in their lives. God exposes the lies that the narcissist hides behind, and he does so in a way that no human can. Narcissists are masters of deception, weaving stories that make them look larger than life, creating a version of themselves that is far removed from reality. They manipulate the truth, twist facts, and put on a mask to convince others of their superiority. But God sees beyond the surface. He is the ultimate truth teller, and he knows exactly what's hidden behind the facade. No lie, no matter how carefully crafted, can withstand the light of God's truth. He exposes the false narratives that the narcissist relies on to maintain their power and control. It might not happen overnight, but the more they cling to their deception, the more they open the door for God to reveal the truth. Relationships start to crumble as people begin to see through the lies, and the narcissist begins to lose their influence. God doesn't need to do anything drastic. Sometimes it's just a small revelation that shifts everything. The narcissist's carefully constructed world begins to unravel, piece by piece, as their lies are exposed for what they really are. It's a humbling experience when they realize that their manipulation can't hide the truth forever. The more they try to defend their lies, the more they find themselves cornered by the undeniable reality that God has laid bare. And when this happens, the narcissist is left to face the truth of who they are and the impact of their deceit on others. God's exposure isn't just about revealing their lies. It's about calling them to confront the truth and embrace a change that only he can bring. God has a way of making the narcissist face reality, even when they've spent their whole life avoiding it. Narcissists are often disconnected from the truth, living in a world they've created where everything revolves around them. They convince themselves that their distorted perception is reality, and they build their lives around that illusion. But sooner or later, God forces them to confront the truth. But the only way to find out if it's truth is to let nothing stand in the way. Show me. Shola. God forces them to confront the truth. It's not always in an obvious, dramatic way. Sometimes it's a small moment of clarity that breaks through the fog of their self-obsession. Other times, it's a series of events that chip away at their carefully constructed world until they're left standing in the middle of a reality they can no longer deny. This is where God's work is powerful. He doesn't force them to change, but he gives them the opportunity to see things as they truly are. The narcissist may try to fight it, but God knows how to break through their hardened hearts. It might be a relationship that falls apart, a career that slips away, or a long-held belief that crumbles under the weight of truth. For the narcissist, facing reality can be one of the most painful experiences. But it's an awakening to the fact that they are not the center of the universe, that their actions have consequences, and that their world is not as perfect as they thought. God doesn't let them live in denial forever. He brings them to a point where they can no longer ignore the truth, forcing them to face the reality they've been avoiding for so long. God allows the narcissist to feel the consequences of their actions, and this is where his justice truly begins to unfold. Narcissists often live with a sense of entitlement, believing that they can manipulate, deceive, and mistreat others without facing any repercussions. They might have spent years walking over people, using others to inflate their own sense of self-worth. But God doesn't let them get away with it. So, Audion, there's a moment when the consequences of their actions catch up to them. It's not immediate, but it's inevitable. God, in his wisdom, allows them to experience the pain they've caused others. The people they've hurt may walk away. The relationships they've destroyed may never be repaired. And the power they once wielded over others will slip through their fingers. The narcissist will realize that no matter how much they manipulate or how much they try to avoid responsibility, the consequences are real and they cannot escape them. God's justice is a reminder that actions have consequences, and no amount of manipulation can change that. This isn't punishment for punishment's sake. It's a divine correction that forces the narcissist to deal with the damage they've caused. The consequences bring them face to face with their own pride and selfishness, showing them that they are not above the laws of accountability. They may try to resist, try to deflect blame, but God's justice is unyielding. It's in these moments that they begin to understand the weight of their actions and the impact of their choices. God removes the false sense of control that the narcissist holds so tightly. For a narcissist, control is everything. They need to feel that they are the ones steering the ship, that they can dictate the course of events and manipulate those around them to get what they want. They thrive on being in charge, on controlling others and their circumstances. But God has a way of taking that illusion of control and shattering it completely. It may begin with small disruptions, moments where things don't go as planned, or where their manipulation fails, but eventually God will move in a way that removes the narcissist's grip on the world around them. No longer can they manipulate situations to their advantage. No longer can they twist people's perceptions to serve their own interests. God doesn't have to do much to show the narcissist how powerless they really are. He can take away their influence, make their plans fall apart, and leave them scrambling to regain control over something they no longer have power over. In these moments, the narcissist begins to see how fragile their sense of control truly is. They might try to hold on tighter, but the harder they try, the more their world slips out of their hands. And God does this to teach them a valuable lesson, that control is not theirs to hold on to. In God's sovereignty, he shows them that they are not the masters of their own destiny, and no amount of manipulation or force will ever grant them true control over their life or others. God sends humbling experiences to the narcissist, and these are often the turning points in their life. The narcissist, filled with pride, tends to believe that they are invincible, untouchable, and above the challenges that others face. They walk through life with a sense of superiority, as though nothing can knock them off their pedestal. But God has a way of sending humbling experiences that remind them that no one is immune to the difficulties of life. It might be a personal failure, a professional setback, or a relationship that falls apart. These experiences are not random. They are divine lessons designed to strip away the false sense of invincibility that the narcissist holds on to. At first, the narcissist may resist the humility that these experiences bring. They may fight against the reality that they are not always in control. They might try to explain away their failures or blame others for their downfall. But no matter how much they try to resist, God's hand will guide them through these humbling moments. It's in these moments of vulnerability that the narcissist begins to realize their limitations, that they are not as powerful or flawless as they once believed. It's a lesson that cuts deep, but it's one they need to learn. God's humbling experiences are not designed to break them completely, but to bring them to a place of understanding, where they can no longer deny their own imperfections and their need for God's grace. In the end, these humbling experiences become the stepping stones toward transformation, as the narcissist is forced to confront the truth of who they are. God has a way of removing the narcissist support system, the people who have enabled their behavior for so long. Narcissists often surround themselves with individuals who feed their ego, who validate their sense of superiority, and who help them maintain their image. These people are like shields, protecting the narcissist from the consequences of their actions and reinforcing their delusions of grandeur. But God doesn't allow this false support to last forever. At some point, He removes the people who enable the narcissist, and without them, the narcissist is left exposed. It might be a friend who finally sees through their manipulative ways and walks away, a colleague who refuses to cover up their mistakes, or a family member who can no longer tolerate their behavior. Whatever form it takes, the narcissist will find that the support they once relied on begins to disappear, leaving them to face the consequences of their actions alone. This is a powerful moment for the narcissist, as they realize that they can no longer manipulate those around them to get what they want. The people they thought would always have their back are no longer there, and the narcissist is left to face the harsh reality that they are, in fact, alone. God doesn't do this out of spite. He does it to teach the narcissist that their behavior has consequences and that they can't continue living a life built on lies and manipulation. Without the enablers, the narcissist is forced to see the truth about their actions and the relationships they've destroyed. And it's in this solitude that they have the chance to begin the process of change. So,
hiding your spiritual battles is a deeply personal and wise decision that allows you to preserve your relationship with God while navigating the complexities of human interactions. Spiritual battles often represent the most vulnerable aspects of your faith journey, those moments of doubt, fear, and struggle that test your character and commitment. These battles are sacred in nature, unfolding in the private space between you and God. Sharing them too openly or with the wrong person can lead to misunderstanding, judgment, or even a loss of confidence in your spiritual growth. It is important to recognize that not everyone can fully comprehend or provide the support you need during such times, and exercising discernment in who you confide in is a way of safeguarding your relationship with God and your personal spiritual journey. Spiritual battles are often misunderstood because they are deeply internal. They involve struggles that are not always visible on the surface, such as questioning God's plan, wrestling with temptations, or seeking clarity during times of uncertainty. These are deeply intimate experiences that require a level of trust and vulnerability not easily shared. Revealing these battles prematurely can lead to unsolicited advice, criticism, or even judgment that may exacerbate the struggle instead of alleviating it. By choosing to keep these battles private, You allow yourself the space and time to process them in a way that strengthens your faith and understanding. Additionally, hiding your spiritual battles protects you from becoming overly reliant on others for guidance or validation. While trusted mentors, friends, or family members can offer wisdom and encouragement, no one can fully understand the depth of your relationship with God. Relying too heavily on others during spiritual struggles can create a sense of dependency that detracts from your ability to seek God's direction and discern His voice. Your spiritual growth is ultimately a personal journey, and hiding your battles allows you to develop a deeper connection with God, free from external distractions or influences. There is also the risk of sharing your spiritual battles with individuals who may not have the same level of faith or understanding. Not everyone is equipped to provide the kind of support or empathy you need during times of spiritual struggle. Sharing your battles with someone who lacks spiritual maturity or a shared perspective can lead to confusion, discouragement. By keeping these struggles private, you protect yourself from the emotional toll of dealing with misunderstanding or miscommunication. It allows you to focus on seeking guidance from God and those who are genuinely aligned with your spiritual values. Another important reason to hide your spiritual battles is to protect your emotional and mental well-being. Sharing your struggles with others can sometimes lead to feelings of shame, embarrassment, or vulnerability, especially if their response is not what you expected or needed. Negative reactions or lack of understanding can compound your feelings of isolation or inadequacy, making it harder to navigate your spiritual journey. By choosing to keep these battles private, you create a safe space for yourself, where you can confront your struggles without fear of judgment or rejection. Spiritual battles also require a level of introspection and self-awareness that is best cultivated in solitude. When you take the time to reflect on your struggles privately, you gain a deeper understanding of their root causes and the lessons they may hold. This self-reflection allows you to approach your spiritual battles with clarity and purpose, enabling you to grow and learn from the experience. Sharing your struggles prematurely can disrupt this process, as it shifts the focus away from personal growth and towards seeking external validation or solutions. Hiding your spiritual battles also reinforces the importance of prayer and communion with God. These struggles are often an invitation to draw closer to Him, to seek His guidance, and to deepen your trust in His plan. By keeping your battles private, you create an environment where prayer becomes your primary means of communication and support. This practice not only strengthens your relationship with God, but also builds your faith and resilience, enabling you to face future challenges with confidence and grace. There is also a practical aspect to hiding your spiritual battles. Sharing your struggles with others can sometimes lead to unnecessary complications or drama, especially if the information is shared with individuals who are not trustworthy or have ulterior motives. Gossip, misunderstanding, or misrepresentation can arise, further complicating an already challenging situation. By keeping your spiritual battles private, you avoid these potential pitfalls and ensure that your struggles remain between you and God. Hiding your spiritual battles also allows you to maintain a sense of dignity and strength. Spiritual struggles are not a sign of weakness, but rather an indication of growth and transformation. By choosing to keep them private, you demonstrate a level of maturity and self-respect. It shows that you are taking responsibility for your spiritual journey and are committed to seeking God's guidance rather than relying on others to solve your problems. Furthermore, keeping your spiritual battles private creates an opportunity for you to witness God's power and faithfulness firsthand. When you navigate your struggles with Him alone, you allow Him to work in your life in ways that are uniquely tailored to your needs and circumstances. This personal experience of God's intervention and grace deepens your faith and provides a powerful testimony of His love and provision. Sharing your struggles prematurely can dilute this experience as it shifts the focus away from God's work and toward human perspectives. Hiding your spiritual battles also allows you to protect the sanctity of your relationship with God. Your faith journey is a deeply personal and sacred aspect of your life, one that deserves to be treated with reverence and respect. By keeping your struggles private, you create a space where you can engage with God openly and honestly, free from the expectations or opinions of others. This sacred space is where true healing and transformation occur, enabling you to emerge stronger and more grounded in your faith. In many ways, hiding your spiritual battles is an act of humility and surrender. It is an acknowledgement that your struggles are not meant to be carried alone, but are an opportunity to lean on God and trust in His wisdom. It is a recognition that your faith journey is unique and that no one else can fully understand or navigate it on your behalf. By choosing to keep your battles private, you are placing your trust in God and allowing Him to guide you through the challenges you face. In conclusion, a woman's strength lies not only in what she shares, but also in what she wisely chooses to withhold. By hiding her deepest insecurities, her financial independence, and her spiritual battles, she safeguards her identity, preserves her dignity, and nurtures relationships based on respect, authenticity, and shared values. These decisions are not acts of secrecy, but rather of discernment, ensuring that her worth is never diminished by misunderstanding, exploitation, or judgment. True empowerment comes from embracing the wisdom to protect the sacred aspects of her life, allowing her to walk confidently in her purpose, knowing that her strength is rooted in both vulnerability and discretion.